But this is one of the things you've got. Is with all of the different types of sightings you've got. I mean, there's a very famous one where an airline pilot was in a foreign country, I think Hong Kong or somewhere, and he saw one of his other airline pilots that he hadn't seen for a fair old while. Sat and chatted to this guy, and this other pilot said, you know, give my best to everyone back in Heathrow, you know, all the guys, because I've not seen them for a while. And he said, when are you flying? He said, I'm not coming back. And he said, I'm staying here. And this was Hong Kong, certainly a foreign country. And when this guy got back, he said, oh, I saw Bob or whatever he was. To the disbelief of everyone else, this guy had died 6 weeks of heart attack 6 weeks prior to it, and this guy hadn't known that he'd died. But he had this full interaction at an airport with this guy. Now, he said he had a chat to him. Now, I know there's this point saying, well, he's an airline pilot, so you've got to believe him. I don't see why we should believe an airline pilot more than anyone else, but this is a guy who actually came out and said, this happened to me, and I did speak to this guy. So that was a full body apparition that he spoke to, had interaction with. Where's he gone? Because he's talking, he says the stories, it's like talking to you. You know, I know you're definitely there. Well, I'm kind of hoping you're definitely there, because if everyone at home's watching and there is an empty chair there,
that'd be interesting. Yeah, just check.
I had a massive corner.
But do you know what I mean? Where has he gone?
And how has he got? Because they always say, obviously, it's hard, need loads of energy to appear like that. So it wouldn't. Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I had something like similar. Well, not similar, but I was in bed one night and I was awake, and you know, and I woke up. I thought I was being burgled. Basically, there was this 16-year-old lad stood next to the bed. I won't say any names because he might get done. I can even tell you what he was wearing, what he smelled like. And he just stood over me looking, and I thought, oh God, my kid's in another room, as I was a single parent at the time. And I thought, you know, typical man, go just smash him in his ghoulies and go and get my kid, do you know what I mean? And as I did, he just disappeared. But he was like, you stood in front of me, and I honestly thought I was being burgled.
But modern, where he was dressed modern?
Yeah, he was, yeah. And I'd say about 16, 17, I could smell, he was like sweaty but deodorant, just looking over me.
I have many people saying very similar stories to you, because when you tell people you do this, everybody comes forward and says, oh, I've got a story. Everyone has a story. Where someone's mum works in a taxi rank, and she was spending, and a guy walks in, just sat down, and she said, do you want a taxi? And actually said, in a minute. And she thought it was a bit odd. And just sort of sat there and looked, and she just looked around, looked back, door never opened, and just disappeared.
But it's like, why are they there though, isn't it? Like you said, why?
But yeah, why would you go to a taxi rank? Unless they are.
Maybe they need a lift to the next doorway, because the doorway's a bit further down, I don't know.
Possibly, that's probably it.
They just can't be bothered to walk, because you might get tired being a spirit, I don't know. Yes. I mean, there are a couple of things happen where I was brought up in Guildford. My mum and dad, the house they had was a new house. It's you know, and they still live there now. So, and there was nothing on there before. There's no past buildings, there's nothing, because it was just clear land. I mean, there could have been Romans and all that hundreds of years ago, but certainly not in the last couple of hundred. And when, and this was the first thing that got me interested in the paranormal, certainly made me think, was I was only a kid, I was only 8 or 9. My brother's 3 years older than I am, and one night I got up to go to the loo, and I was having a wee, probably a bit too much information, I can understand, but I was only a kid at the time. And I just looked round, and down the little corridor to my room, I thought I saw a man leaning up in my door frame, wearing a 1930s outfit. It was the hat, the kind of big collared thing, and a suit. And it was that clear, and I looked back, and he'd gone, but it was that clear that I could describe it. And even now, in my mind, I can describe it. When we went downstairs in the morning, my brother came out, and we were just having breakfast, and he said, God, he said, I got scared last night. And I said, why? And he said, when he came out of his room, he opened his door, and in a different position to my doorway, he just said, I saw a man leaning up against the wall with his arms folded, and he described him as someone wearing a Humphrey Bogart outfit, which is a similar thing. Now, but neither of us had seen anything before, and we experienced nothing after in that house. But that one night, we both saw something, the same thing in a different position and in a different way. Now, what is that? Is that still, was it someone trying to tell us something? Because obviously it didn't because it didn't speak, but we did definitely see the same thing, and unprompted. And certainly for me, if I had said first, oh, I saw a guy leaning up, and then my brother had said, oh, you know, I'd have thought he was making it up, as he thought I was making it up, because I said, oh, I saw that as well. He said, yeah, well. But I know in my mind I did. So there's that. And just down the road, a lady, when the houses were finished, there was a lady broke down, her car had stopped, and she got out. As she lifted the bonnet up, there was a guy sort of came around in a mechanic's outfit, he had overalls on. And he didn't say anything to her, but he pointed into the engine and there was something loose. So she clicked it on, turned it, and it started. She got out of the car to say thank you, and he'd gone. So she just thought he's obviously walked away. Yeah. And she looked into it. 2 weeks prior to that, a mechanic had been killed on that road. And that was just coming up, that's the same road that my mum and dad live on. So what does she have? Well, you know, she swears blindly that this man actually turned up and fixed it. Well, he didn't fix it, he pointed to the car and she fixed it. Now, where is he now? And he's not been seen since, certainly not to my knowledge.
That's not to tell that it wasn't just a person, though, really.
True, it could have been
a person.
But normally if it's a person who said, oh, I love you, and he probably just, I'll click that in. But he didn't. He pointed and went. I mean, there's another case of that happened in Guildford, just outside of Guildford actually, which involved a car, and the police were called. It's a case that I'm really looking into because I think for me it's one of the most fascinating cases that I've witnessed, eyewitness account that I've ever come across, and the police were called by several people at the same time on their mobile phones saying they've just seen a car coming off of the road. They described the car, the colour and everything, and heading off the road into the brush. To the point where the police went and had a look for the car, couldn't see anything. They went back only to have more reports of people saying that they're seeing headlights in the brush. And I'm going to come back to that just after the break because I just like to leave people on tenterhooks. If you want to know more, join us in a minute. See you in a bit.